Hi everybody, it's me Arden Lee. I'm back with another video, and today I want to talk about the topic of how to help your coach help you. Whether it's a life coach, a therapist, whether it's me, no matter who you're working with, it could be an energy worker, it could be a Reiki healer, it could be a tarot reader. Anyone that you are hiring for their professional services to help you feel better or achieve your goals or get your life together in some way or another, how to help that person help you, how to maximize the effectiveness of your coaching. I think this can even go for business coaching as well, if we're being honest. So I want to get into that. Before I start and get into that topic, however, I would love to invite you to take a look at the description box where if you're interested, you can check out the free PDF guide to the repatterning project, which is the 8-week course that I curate online. Our next iteration of the course begins January 20th, 2019. I'm super stoked about it. And you can also join the link to the Facebook group. It's a free group called the Repatterning Parlor. And you can join, and I moderate that group, and we kind of come together to support each other and help each other achieve our goals, share our stories of our wins as well as our obstacles, and also we also share a lot of funny memes about self-improvement in order to so we can laugh at our own patterns and everything, and also use them to identify where it's like if you laugh at something, like it's usually true, right? So yeah, it's a really super cool container. I would love to invite you to join it there with me. So go ahead and check out those links that are in the description box, and I'll see you there. So why am I talking about this particular topic today? How to help your coach help you. I'm someone who's a coach, and I'm also someone who has hired coaches in the past. So I've been on both sides of the equation, and I want to tell you about this experience that I had with a coach that I was working with, where I really started to. It really finally clicked for me. Why her coaching was useful to me and what made it useful to me. And what happened essentially, when I started working with her, and when I started working with other coaches that I've worked with before her, even when I went to therapy when I was living in New York, I went to therapy, and I was kind of like, I walked in and I was just like, I'm unhappy, I'm miserable, what's going on, fix me, and I'm not, I really think the modality of talk therapy depends really heavily on the therapist and their ability to be present with you and to analyze what's going on in the situation. So, I'm not going to diss therapy, but I also think that it's also, it's not necessarily the quickest or the most effective modality all the time either. There's certainly nothing wrong with going and talking to a therapist. It's a really healthy thing to do. But so often, for me anyway, I went to see therapists, and I showed up with this kind of I don't know, fix me, what's going on? And I think that when we're in a dark place that we're trying to get out of, sometimes that's the best that we can do. Sometimes that's actually just showing up and taking that first step and going I don't know what's wrong, I just feel awful. I don't know. You're supposed to be a professional at making people feel better, so let's do this, right? I think that's totally okay to start off with that mindset, because again, anything that you can do just to take that first step toward your healing is going to be helpful. But what I want to emphasize to you is that when I reached the point in working with my current coach that I actually started to understand how her work was helpful to me and what I could do to help her help me even better, things really started clicking and moving very fast for me. And so I want to share that with you as well. So again, no guilt. If you're just showing up and you're like, all I know is that I feel miserable and I don't know what's going on, again, that's amazing that you're taking that first step. So what I want to share with you today is how to be, how to take that next step to being an advanced kind of client, to essentially, take that. What it amounts to is taking your power for your happiness back into your own hands and not putting it in the hands of someone else, even if they are someone else who is helping you. So the breakthrough for me, I'll describe how that happened. I had been going to see this coach who was absolutely wonderful. And when I first started seeing her, I just felt like, I think I'm supposed to work with you. I don't know why, but I feel called to your work. And I know that I was like, at the time, I was like, I think I've got some trauma from my last relationship. I think it's imprinted a lot of shame on me, and I kind of want to get rid of it. And so I went into it, like that. And then all of a sudden, all these boxes fell down. She was like, it's like we opened the closet and all these boxes came tumbling out. So like every trauma that I had, that I had repressed, growing up and going through my 20s and everything started just tumbling down. And I got into this state where I was just like helpless. And I would just call her up for a session and just be like, I don't know what's going on. I feel awful. Like I feel terrible or whatever. And I remember there was this one session where I called her up and I was like, I was just processing and processing and processing. And finally she was like, Arden, what are you here for? Like, what are we doing? What are we talking about? Are we going to do the work or not? Because she was really less of a talk therapist, someone that I was, going to process with. And she was more of, her modality is more about moving the energy that's in your body. And you really need to let her know if you really want to maximize her work. You need to let her know like what you're dealing with and what you want to, to move. What kind of change do you want to make? What is the end result that you want to make? And so what was helpful to me, about that, I actually got super triggered at the time. I was just like, what? Like, come on, like, this is my time. I'm, like what, like, why are you, I feel like you're I was like, I feel like you're judging me for needing to process things or whatever. And of course, it's not what she was doing, but we just had a miscommunication. It was a Mercury retrograde, and we certainly moved through it. But what came up for me then, what I started to notice was I was like, oh, this is actually on me. I really sat with it after our session. I was like, how did that go wrong? And I ended up feeling bad or whatever. And I was like, oh, this is actually my responsibility. I have to imagine myself that I'm the queen of my queendom, right? I have my life. I have my view of the world. And in my life, I'm steering the ship and I'm in the throne and I am the one who is making all of the executive decisions. That's the only way that it can possibly be, because I'm the only person who's in control of my reality. Yes, there are lots of other people in the world and they have their realities and we're all bumping up against one another. And if someone, pushes me on the street, I didn't create that with my mind, certainly. But at the end of the day, when I am taking responsibility for my life and where things are going and how I'm feeling and how I'm coping with everything, I am the one who's responsible for that. And my job when I hire a coach is to set them up to do what they're good at. And so now when I work with her in particular, I go to her and I'm like, okay, hey, here's what I'm dealing with right now. Here's all the stuff that came up for me. And this is the obstacle and this is the goal that I want to reach. This is what's in the way. And this is the stuff that's coming up for me. This is the stuff that I want to move out of the way. And then this is where I want to end up. I want to end up in this place. And just having that clarity to get on the phone with her when we work together and saying, this is what happened. And I take my 5 minutes to process. Like I take my 5 minutes to explain kind of everything that I've, I guess what it is I do my processing by myself. I write or whatever. I do whatever I need to do to figure out what's going on for me. And then I go to her, and in the first maybe like 5 to 8 minutes of our conversation, I'll be like, all right, so I did all this processing. Here's what I came up with. Here's how this all, links together or whatever. And granted, like I'm also really good at that. I'm doing it for myself. So if what you actually need is a coach to analyze those pieces of information and help you process that for you, then that's what you need, and that's fine too. And in that case, you'd be like, hey, I'm feeling all of this. Will you help me process it? Will you help me figure out where this is coming from? And that's empowering, that's the part that I'm good at. That's like 90% of the work that I do with my clients is when they're like, why am I getting this result? Or why am I feeling this way? Or why do I do that? And I'm like, okay, let's go in. Like, let's pop the hood and let's see what's going on, right? But in her case, when I call her up, I've mostly done that work beforehand. But I call her up and I work with her to sort of move all of those obstacles out of the way so that I can get to the place that I want to be, because there's only so far, there's only so much that I can do for myself without having sort of an outside person to work with me. There's a lot that I can do, and I can sometimes do like 90% of that work myself. But I always, when it's something really big that needs to move and needs to change, I always also hire a coach just to really fully solidify that within myself. So I'm like, hey, I call her up and I'm like, that first 5 to 8 minutes, I'm like, this is all the stuff that I've gone through. This is what I'm dealing with. This is what I've processed. And here's the obstacle that's in the way. This is what I want to, this is where I want to be going eventually. This is where I want to end up. So how do I remove the obstacle, and how do I get to the place where I want to be? And the more specific I can be about that, the better her work is for me. And so it's so great. It's like, oh wow, this saves me time. It saves me money. I have to, I need fewer and fewer sessions because the sessions that we do are focused and concentrated. So again, identifying the obstacle and then identifying what you want out of the session. And that's so key, you guys. I can't tell you, for the longest time, I used to show up to, again, therapists or coaches or whoever, and just be like, I don't know what's wrong. I don't know, fix me, I'm here, right? And it's fine, as I said, it's fine to start out that way, but the moment you make that leap into understanding what your coach or therapist or body worker or whoever, understanding what they do and then allowing them to do what they're good at for you and being as specific as possible. It's like sometimes I might take my car into the shop and I might be like, I don't know what's wrong with my car. And that's fine because I know that what I'm doing is I'm getting a diagnostic, right? I'm taking my car in and I'm being like, okay, this is the noise it's making. I don't know where it's coming from, but that's what's happening. And can you check? Can you tell me what's wrong? And then once I know what the issue is, hopefully that person at the car shop can fix it, but what if they can't? What if it's something else? What if it's like, oh, you need to get, I don't know. I don't even know how cars work, so I'm going to be terrible at this analogy. But what if they're like, you need to buy new tires and, we don't have tires at this shop. So then I'm going to go to the tire place and I'm going to be like, I need new tires and I need tires that are this kind because I have this issue that's going on. Can you please remove my old tires and can you replace them with new tires that are going to solve this issue, right? If I just go in and wherever I'm going, if I'm like, I don't know, I'm just showing up because I'm just trying to do the work or whatever. It's just not as effective as if you have specific goals that you want each of your, coaches or energy workers or healers or whatever, however you want to, whatever titles that you want to give them or that they identify with. It's just going to make it that much easier for you to work with them. So as much to the extent that is possible, get specific about what it is you need and let them do the thing that they're good at for you. So that specificity will really start to transform your relationships with your coaches, and it also brings the power back into your hands. Because again, it's like if I'm going to the dentist, like I'm going to the dentist, and I'm going to let him work on my teeth. I'm not going to go to the dentist because I have a scraped knee, right? I'm not going to go to the dentist because I have a stomach ache. I want to make sure that I'm going to a coach who is practicing the modality that is going to help me. And the more and more specific I can be about that, and I'm not just going to show up and I'm going to be like, okay, I don't know, fix me or whatever. I mean, maybe I would ask for like a diagnostic. I might be like, hey, I actually don't know what's wrong. How, maybe that's what I would go to, to an analyst for, or that, like, again, that's something that I tend to do. I tend to be able to, with my clients, take thin slices of information and extrapolate larger patterns from them and say like, okay, this is the pattern. Now let's identify the root of it, right? So that's one thing or whatever, but you want to come to a coach that you're working with, which is with as much specificity about the problem as possible. And that's really going to accelerate your transformation process. It's going to accelerate your growth, and it's going to get you there so much more quickly. And honestly, I feel like the bigger reason is not even so much because it makes the coach's work, faster and more efficient and effective, but also the reason it's so good for us is because it puts us back in the driver's seat, and we're not giving our power away to someone else and saying like, either you have to fix me, I don't know what to do. What we're actually doing is we're acknowledging that we're fixing ourselves, and we're taking our car to the shop to have someone work on it. And we're like, hey, this is the problem. I need this, I need that, I need I need XYZ issues solved in my life. And you do, you essentially, you're paying them for something that is a specific thing for them to work on for you. And then maybe you notice like, hey, there's a different problem, but I'm going to go to this person for that one because, you have your whole team of advisors, you are there, you are the king of your kingdom or the queen of your queendom, and you have your council of advisors who are all there to help you, in specific ways. But ultimately, you're the only one who can do that for yourself. You're the only one who is in the driver's seat. And each of your council of advisors, whether that's someone you're working with professionally or just, people in your life who are friends or, who help you through certain struggles, they're all going to be able to do different things for you. They're going to be good at different things. So going there and with each person, whether it's a professional or whether it's a friend you're working with, and being specific about what you need out of that time, out of that container, rather than just saying like, oh, I don't know what's wrong, like, fix me. It makes a huge difference. So I hope this is helpful. If you're working with a coach, maybe bring it up to your coach and talk about the subject, and leave a comment. Let me know what they say. Or if you want to work with me, then let's work together and let's get super specific about what the thing is that I can help you with, and I'd love to be able to help you with that thing. So thanks again for watching. I'll see you in the next video.